Hi everyone, it's Michelle. I'm here with the Colorado Wolf and Wildlife Center, and this is our weekly wolf talk with Michelle. And I'm here today with Luna. Amarak is also hanging out in the background, so you might see him also. But I did see a question on our Facebook feed that I really wanted to answer, and that was just kind of an explanation a little bit about wolf dogs and the term wolf hybrid. So I figured who better else to come and do this video with than our resident wolf dog named Luna. So they're very interested in my shoes and my watch and everything right now because I just helped butcher a deer, so be patient if we're not going to see their faces too much in here. But to tell you a little bit about wolf dogs, here comes Amarak. Luna here is what's considered a mid-content wolf dog. So that means that she's about half and half. We haven't done a DNA test on her yet, but just looking at her visually, she looks like she has about equal parts wolf and dog in her. So we think she's probably mostly mixed with husky. She has a very big husky bark, so if anybody has actually gotten to visit us and heard her, you probably have heard that big woofing before. But what is the difference between a wolf dog and a wolf hybrid? So way back when we first were founded, we were called the Wolf Hybrid Rescue Center. Now, back in 1993, all wolf dogs were usually called wolf hybrids. A wolf hybrid, however, at this point in time, really is just what we would consider an F1 wolf to dog cross. So that means a pure wolf as a parent. Those don't usually really happen. There is a very rare scenario. I think there was one in Alaska and one recently in Wyoming where we had an F1 cross, but it's very, very rare. Most animals that are being called wolf hybrids are actually wolf dogs, which are generations of wolves and dogs that have been bred together to create various contents. So like I mentioned with Luna, we think she's a mid-content wolf dog. So she has about half and half wolf and dog. But a low-content wolf dog would be an animal that is mostly dog, and then a high-content wolf dog would be one that is mostly wolf. I do want to tell you a little bit about wolf dogs and some of the issues that people have with them. So unfortunately, there's about 250,000 wolf dogs living in backyards throughout the United States today. Now, the reason I say that's unfortunate is because a lot of people who get these guys can't handle them. It's estimated that about Luna, come here. It's estimated, unfortunately, that about 80% of these guys will never see their third birthday. And the reason why is a lot of times people will get them thinking that they're going to look like a wolf, but act like a dog. And that's not usually the case. So unfortunately, for most of these guys, when they end up in a private home, a lot of people are just familiar with domestic dogs, and they're not really familiar with the challenges that wolf dogs can bring. So I'll just kind of say the typical life for a wolf dog. They have these puppies for the first 2 years and everything seems okay, but then they reach maturity. And at that 2-year of age mark is when these guys can start going through a lot of personality changes and become very challenging for the basic dog owner to have. So that is why there's such a large amount of them that never see their third birthday. So a lot of times when they hit 2 and they start to become more challenging, maybe they have a much higher prey drive, they might try and start eating the family cat, they no longer get along with the other dogs in the household, they are escape artists like Miss Luna here. We'll talk about her story in a minute. And they're destructive. I don't know if I already mentioned the destruction, and I can tell you a lot about that personally because, as many of you know if you have followed our videos for a long time, Shia, the other wolf dog that I used to do some videos with, lives with me, and he's our off-site ambassador. So I can tell you from experience, they are not good pets. In the very first year that I had Shia, he destroyed probably about $15,000 worth of stuff, and that was with him being on a leash in the house. Now, other problems are that he doesn't get along with the cats, so he will try and eat them. Very difficult to housebreak and extraordinarily destructive. Again, a lot of money. But he would eat all of my seat belts in my Jeep, in which that's never fun. So they are very expensive to replace. He also pees and poops in the vehicle, so also not very fun. Not something a lot of domestic dog owners have to face on a regular basis. So they can become challenging, but part of the biggest issues is once they hit 2 and they start going through maturity is that they might end up having something called winter wolf syndrome. And that is basically during the wintertime, about this time of year, when breeding season really starts getting underway, they can become very aggressive. And that's not something a lot of dog owners are used to. So that's why most of these guys end up needing to be rehomed before the age of 2. And unfortunately, if a wolf dog ends up in a shelter, they do have to be euthanized unless they can be placed into a sanctuary like ours or a wolf dog specific rescue. and all of those places are full. It's very, very hard to find those, which is what causes that high euthanasia rate. To tell you a little bit about something called misrepresentation. Unfortunately, there's a lot of dogs out there that are also labeled as wolf dogs, or even as wolves. So I'll show you some pictures here of my dog. His name is Grizzly. I actually had a veterinarian tell me one time that Grizzly was at least 98% wolf, and Grizzly doesn't have any wolf in him at all. Now you can imagine if somebody has a dog like him and they go around and tell all their friends and family what a great animal their wolf or their wolf dog is, it could, oh, there she is. It could unfortunately give the wrong impression of how wolf dogs look and act. So you can imagine if somebody met a dog like Grizzly and they had an owner that was sharing them as being part wolf, that person then might have the idea that, oh, hey, this makes a really great pet. And so they'll go out and end up buying one. But in reality, what they had actually met was a domestic dog. And I can say this with confidence, most of the animals out there that people have that they claim are wolf dogs are either fully domestic dogs or extremely low content animals. And sometimes they might not know, or sometimes they do know, and they're just inflating that content. So unfortunately what ends up happening is when people go out and they get an animal that, after seeing a domestic dog that they thought was a wolf dog, that person then might end up with a real wolf dog. And again, when you have your mid contents and higher, they can be extremely challenging. And so that is, again, another big issue. Now, another problem is that they are not legal in every state. So when people go out and get them, they might not check the legality in those areas. And it can also be down to county, city, even certain HOAs will have their own rules on what animals can or cannot be had. And wolf dogs are usually on the list. Now, a lot of times they'll say wolf hybrids in their laws. However, that does encompass wolf dogs as well. When the laws were written, they were intending to encompass wolf dogs. It wasn't just that one, F1 cross between a wolf and a dog. So just keep in mind that it is something that has to be checked into, especially. It's also another issue as well, where there are some dogs or some animals that are being sold as dogs that have wolf content in them. So there's a couple different dog breeds where not all of the breeders, again, are very honest, and they will tell people, oh yeah, this doesn't have any wolf in it, and it actually does. And so when they end up doing a DNA test later on, and they're living in an illegal state, and they find out that they have a wolf dog, that can be a lot of issues. So that's just a little bit of information about wolf dogs. And again, wolf hybrids, it's kind of a misnomer. It's not really a term that's used very often anymore. Oh my goodness, because we don't usually have those pure F1 to dog crosses. Those typically don't happen. They're very rare. So to tell you a little bit about Miss Luna here, she's a very sweet girl. She is one of our rescues. Now, she had been living with a family who was taking very good care of her. But Luna, like most wolf dogs, has a very, very high prey drive. So when the new neighbors moved in and they brought in their chickens, Luna said, wow, you brought me a whole chicken buffet just for me. And she continued to escape. So she ended up figuring out every single fence that her people had built for her. And eventually they ended up having to rehome her. So we were very thankful that we were able to adopt sweet Luna here because Mr. Amarak had been alone for a little bit, of course, after Coda had passed away. And they hit it off right away. Just within the first couple of days, they got along, and they have been living happily ever since. Yeah. So if you are interested, you definitely can meet Luna and Amarak. We do have interactive tours. They are some of the animals that we do bring folks in with to say hi to. So if you ever are wanting to come and visit us for our VIP or interactions, check out our website. Again, if you haven't checked out our website, it is wolfeducation.org. Lots of great things on there. And then, of course, we are open year-round, so come and visit us. And we will see you all next time. You're such a good girl.